Hey guys, my name is Shirley and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are just going to be talking about habits and some of the habits that I have implemented in my life to help me live a more happier, fuller, fulfilled and productive life. Personally, I feel like habits and habit formation is such an important topic to talk about because essentially we are the sum collective of the things that we repeatedly do day in and day out. That is essentially we are the sum collective of the habits that we implement, and it is the habits that we live by that either push us closer to our goals or drive us further away from our goals. Anyways, without wasting too much more time, let's go straight into some of the habits that I have implemented that have helped me live a more healthier, fuller and productive life. Okay, habit number one. The number one habit that I would probably say has made the biggest difference in my life is going for daily walks. Now, me personally, I am not a morning person. I am not a happy champ in the morning. I do not like speaking to people in the morning. Mornings are quite tough for me, but something that has made my mornings, I guess, a more pleasant time is going for daily walks. And this is a habit that I implemented probably about 18 months ago. Sometimes it might be 5 minutes. Sometimes if I have more time, I get to do 15-20 minute walks, and that just helps me set up my day for success. I find when I go on my morning walks, I'm more energized in the mornings. It literally feels like when I'm outside walking, and especially if I'm outside in the sun, it literally feels like my batteries are being recharged. It allows me to have time to clear my mind. It allows me to have time to set my intentions for the day. And my walks are not even so much for the physical health. I guess that's like a side perk, but it really is all about my mental space and creating a headspace and prioritizing my headspace first thing in the morning before I start doing anything else. Those days where I don't go on walks, I find my mornings are very hard for me. I find I'm not as energized. I find I'm not as positive. So for me, going on walks is something that I really value and that I try to do every single day without fail. Next habit that has really made a big difference in my life is having and following a strict sleep schedule. Now, if you're on this channel at the start of the year, you will know I was struggling quite a lot with my sleep, and I cannot explain to you how struggling with sleep completely affected my whole entire life. I was so tired. I was not showing up as my best self at work. I didn't have the right energy, and I've had to do a lot of work on that, and that's probably another video on its own. But now I am in a place where I have a strict sleep schedule that I absolutely love. So essentially every night without fail by 10 o'clock I start winding down. I start at 10 o'clock because it gives me an hour to be asleep. The latest time that I can sleep is 11, but I usually find if I start winding down at 10 o'clock, so that's, getting into my pajamas, brushing my teeth, putting my devices away. If I start doing that at 10 o'clock, I'm usually asleep by 10:30, latest 11, and then I wake up around 6:30 a.m. And for me, that's an absolute sweet spot. Again, like I said before, I'm not a morning person. So if I try to wake up at 5 a.m., even if I've had like 9-8 hours of sleep, if I try to wake up at 5 a.m., I'm just super grumpy and it doesn't work for me. So I found for myself, my optimal wake up time is between 6 o'clock and 6:30. So figure out the time that's most optimal for you. Maybe for you, it's going to bed at 12 or 1 a.m. and then waking up at 8 a.m. And if that works for you, shoot, go for it. But I think the most important thing is to having a routine and following it strictly. I find waking up in the morning is easier because I essentially naturally wake up at the same time every day now. So sometimes I don't even rely on my alarm clock. I wake up even a few minutes before my alarm clock. I'm way more energized during the day because I'm getting enough sleep and consistently enough sleep. I find I'm more productive because I've figured out the most optimal time for me to sleep and the most optimal time for me to wake up. Next habit I want to talk about, and this is something I actually did speak about a few videos back, and it is not opening up my work emails until it is time for me to actually start my work day. Now, a lot of us, we do find ourselves working in quite toxic work environments or work environments where there's just so much work and there's so much to do. And I found there was a point in time where I was in that work environment and things were just so hectic, and literally the moment my alarm would ring in the morning, first thing I would open up is my work emails. And that was the worst thing that I possibly could have done for myself, just because when I did that, I found before I even got time for myself in the morning, before I even got time to brush my teeth or shower or make breakfast, I was already thinking about work. I was already thinking about the things that I needed to do. So even if there wasn't anything to action, but because I've already opened up my emails, my head is already in work mode, and yet I haven't done anything for myself. So one day I just made the decision that unless it's 9 a.m. or whatever time that I'm logging into work, unless it is time for me to actually sit at my desk and start working, I will not open up my email any point in time before that. And that also counts for after work. Let's say I finish work at 6 or finish work at 5:30. That's it. I'm not opening up my emails again until the next day when I'm actually ready to work. And I find I'm way less anxious, I am way less nervous, I'm way less frantic because I've set those boundaries. So next habit that's so key is just moving my body and working out. And for me, I have taken a lifestyle approach when it comes to working out, as in I work out in terms of what makes sense for my lifestyle at a particular stage in my life. What that looks like is, it means there's some times in my life where I've been into the gym 5 days a week. And then there's some times where I don't feel like doing weightlifting and my main form of workout has been going for runs. And there's some times where I don't feel like running and I'm mainly doing home workouts. So I've taken the approach of just moving my body and listening to my body. Like, there's infinite number of benefits to working out. I guess when you're young, you might not really realize the importance of it, but trust me, having an active lifestyle in the long run, when you're in your 60s, when you're in your 70s, or even earlier than that, you will see the benefits of having lived an active lifestyle. Next habit that I've implemented and that has made a huge difference in my life is budgeting. And I absolutely love this. I know you're probably listening like, who loves budgeting? Me. It's me. I'm the person who loves budgeting. And I think it's so important because personal finances, debt, issues with, living paycheck to paycheck is one of the biggest stress contributors for a large part of our population. A lot of people are under financial stress, and that leads to mental health illness, it leads to conflict in relationships, it leads to so many things. So if you're able to get a control over your personal finances, you're just setting yourself up for so much success. For me, I treat budgeting like it's a date. So I get paid monthly, so I usually do my budget per month, and I just love it. Like, I'll make myself a cup of tea, I'll light candles, I'll make sure that I'm comfy, I'll bring out all the highlighters, my notepads. Yeah, I just treat it like it's a date and just have fun with it. I think budgeting has been one of the reasons why I have created a life that I'm so happy with, and one of the reasons why I've achieved so many goals, things like buying a house, traveling to so many different places, living in this amazing apartment that I can afford on my own in a location that I absolutely love and adore. I really attribute that to being somebody who's quite meticulous and quite intentional with my personal finances. Obviously, I'm not perfect with it. There's so much ground that I still need to cover in terms of my personal finances, but just having that regular habit of watching what's coming in, watching what's coming out, setting budgets, setting goals, and making my money work for me has been such a game changer, and something that I will continue to do indefinitely. The next habit that has been so important for me is to just be mindful of my thoughts, my headspace, and my spirit. For me, it's so shocking and it's so alarming how little effort we put into watching the thoughts that go into our mind, or putting measures into place in terms of what goes on in our heads. Like, a lot of us, we watch our diet, we watch how many workouts we do in a month, or we watch, our personal finances, like we budget and all that kind of stuff. But very little effort, I feel like, is given into actually watching what goes on in your head. Yet our head is probably one of the most biggest parts of ourselves. And I guess the best thing about this habit is there's so many different practices that you can put in place based on what works for you. So for me, I try to practice gratitude, I journal, love journaling. Sometimes I journal every day, sometimes I go months without journaling. It just depends. Meditation, again, another thing that I love. Another thing for me is praying and reading my Bible. I find that energizes my spirit so much. Practicing manifestation and the law of attraction. There's so many different things that you can do for your mind, your head, your spirit, your energy, and all those kinds of things. Just having daily habits to put your mind in a good place is something that is so important. All right, another habit is preparing for the day beforehand. That doesn't make sense, but what I try to do is each night I prepare for the next day. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Prepare for the next day the night before. So that is for me, if I know I'm going into office, I will pick my work outfit the night beforehand. I will pack my lunch the night beforehand. I'll pack my work bag the night beforehand. If I know I'm working out in the morning, I will pack my gym clothes, or I'll lay out my gym clothes that I want to wear in the morning for my workout. Yes, it probably takes you the same amount of time to pack your lunch at nighttime as it does in the morning, but I find in the morning, because I'm not a morning person, I find in the morning I'm always in a rush and I never have enough time as I would have thought I would have had. So having prepared for a day beforehand, I just find frees up my mornings. It makes sure that I'm not in a rush, or I'm not frantically rushing. Even doing things like doing a to-do list the night beforehand, for me that's such a game changer, because I know when I wake up knowing exactly what my intentions are for the day. Last but not least is creating and living in a clean space. Now, I am not proclaiming to be a Marie Kondo or like a super neat person. I am not. There are times where my apartment is filthy as hell, but I really do try to put a lot of effort into having a clean space. And I feel like having a clean space is such a form of self-love and self-respect, because when you think about it, a lot of people, or a lot of us, when we have guests over, we make sure that the apartment is clean or the house is clean, things are looking tidy. Like, why do we do that for other people, but we don't do that for ourselves? So for me, I try to make sure that I have a clean space, and usually the routine that I have is I spend about 5-10 minutes each night cleaning my before I go to bed, cleaning my apartment. So that's like putting the dishes in the dishwasher, clearing my countertops or whatnot. So I do that pretty much nightly, depending on what my apartment is looking like. And then on a weekend is I'll have a big deep clean day. And I find putting away things daily just helps mess not build up, and it helps like the space not get to an uncontrollable state. Obviously, it's easy for me to say now because I live by myself, I don't have kids, I'm not sharing with anyone, so it's easier to keep my space clean. But again, figure out a routine that works for you, especially doing it the night before. If you do it the night before, it means you're waking up to a beautiful home, you're waking up to a beautiful space, and it just feels good. Anyway, guys, those are all the habits that I wanted to walk you through. Obviously, there's more habits that I try to implement in my life, but these are just some of the ones that I wanted to discuss with you today. If you do have any habits that you absolutely live and die by, comment them down below. I love hearing about some of the things that you guys are doing. Anyway, guys, thank you again so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And with all that being said and done, dream big, keep well, and hustle hard. I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye!